friendly trauma recovery coach, and today we're going to talk about an interesting, I think, an interesting trauma response, and that is fawning, FAWN. This is something I learned about because I basically went through it, and I still have to deal with it. So don't think that you still don't have to deal with things even after you've learned about them or even after you've done some work on them. It can take many years, and that's okay. We're always moving forward. Um, but first, I've got my notes here, so I'm going to have to go look back and forth. But first, what is the fawn fear response? It's to please, appease, and pacify the threat to keep yourself safe from further harm. So this is usually for people that have had abuse. That's usually it's a verbal, mental, sexual, um, financial, um, those types of, and physical abuse, but over a long period of time. So you get to the point that you're going to appease them, you're going to please them until, just so you make sure it doesn't happen again. And a lot of people call that walking on eggshells. That's kind of one of the terms. So keep that in mind when you're dealing with someone that has those. Because Joseph had to learn how to be there for me because I dealt with that. I didn't want anybody to be angry with me because for me, when someone's angry with you, doesn't like what you're doing, it doesn't mean it has to be bad or anything. It just means they don't like it. They can do some really bad things. They can make sure you don't have a home. They can make sure you don't have food. You have to constantly appease them. So he has been very patient. Now I'm going to tell you a little bit of difference between appeasing and pleasing at a normal level and when it gets harmful. Okay, well, I'm just going to give an example of Joseph and I. When Joseph got sick, and it happened so fast, I mean, it was just, it's craziness for us. I went up to the hospital and 8 hours away from where we just moved. So we're in there and he's having to go through stem cell transplants where they harvest them from him, and then he did what's called a tandem, meaning two, one right after the other. For his case, it was 3 weeks apart. And for each one of them, the process was there's a fly in here, so sorry. The process was they have to take you all the way down to nothing and then build you back up. So all your platelets, everything is zero. Okay, so you're at death's door. But at the exact right, once they get everything to zero, they come in and rescue you with your stem cells that they've already harvested from you. But even in the harvesting, you're going through that same process. Okay, so he had the harvesting done, had a lot of complications, had the first one done, and then he came to me and he actually even said, I'm not sure I want to do this. And we had just met the year before. We finally had found somebody that we could be ourselves around, never had to worry about that. And I just said, can you try for me? And Joseph, of course he did. That was all I had to say. Okay, the second one was the worst of all. So he went through it, he got through it, and I had told him, you'll never have to fix another sandwich again. And he loves sandwiches, and I don't know why I said that, but that's what I said. And I do everything to make him happy, to make him comfortable, because he did this for me. He is never a day without being in pain because of it. So yeah, I went through some guilt on that, but I'm not pleasing him, and I'm not doing things for him because I'm afraid he'll get mad at me. It's the exact opposite. He would never get mad at me for that. In fact, he tries to do so much. So, but with somebody that has this issue, and if it's really extreme, they can look like they're manipulating you. Just keep in mind, and I know I say this over and over again about not judging, find out. Once they feel safe around you, and it's all about safety, they'll go back. As long as they start feeling safe, that you're not going to turn on them the minute that you're upset about them. And to also let them know, because even Joseph would say, there's going to be times we're going to get mad at each other, but that doesn't mean it's over. But for my case, what I had gone through, wasn't the case. So bad things happened. So just keep that in mind when you're dealing with someone that has fawning issues. and they do feel, you feel like you're being manipulated. More than likely you're not. They're just trying to stay safe. But I hope everyone has a good weekend. I will have Friday review tomorrow. Monday I will have a chat, but if I do, it'll be later because Monday's big chemo day for Joseph, so we're there all day, and I won't be near the computer. So go out there and have a great weekend.